Excellent speech.
I call the honourable member, Dr Kennedy Graham.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Last Friday, June 7, I convened a conference on climate change in the New Zealand Parliament. It was held in the Legislative Council chamber, the elegant upper chamber that has been mostly empty since the upper house was abolished in 1951. It was the second conference of the kind, the first having focused on a sustainable economy in November 2010. The reason I convene these conferences rests on an underlying philosophical view on the nature of democracy. In the lower chamber, with green carpet, MPs strongly debate things in an adversarial manner. This is defended and explained to horror-struck school children in the gallery as free and robust debate that is essential for the health of democracy. That may or may not be the case. My own view is that the rules of debate, the standing orders, might be strengthened for greater civility to the benefit of democracy. Be that as it may, adversarial politics is the nature of the democratic pursuit in the New Zealand Parliament, and I can live with that, although I believe the country, to some extent, is demeaned. But I also believe that adversarial democracy needs to be complemented with consensual democracy. We need an avenue, even if an informal one, where MPs can come together in a different atmosphere to exchange views in which we seek common ground, what unites us rather than divides us. Consensual politics is surely the most critically important issue when it comes to crisis situations. The Green view is that the world faces a global ecological crisis, the importance of which transcends partisan politics. All the more reason, then, to have this kind of conference in the Legislative Council chamber, red carpet and all. The idea was to see if we could find common ground between the Greens, Labour and National, all of whom were to participate on a political panel that day. Regrettably, neither National's Minister Tim Grosser nor Associate Minister Simon Bridges was available. The seat was left vacant. Labour accepted, and climate change spokesperson Moana Maki was there. Representatives from business groups, including Federated Farmers, New Zealand Forest Owners Association, New Zealand Wind Energy Association, and also from a iwi Māori perspective, offered some insightful points on what is required. Peter Weir argued that historic forest growth is the only reason New Zealand is able to meet its international obligations under the Kyoto Protocol. But the price of this reprieve will be serious problems when the forests are cut down. The forest industry can give New Zealand much needed time to adapt to the reality of climate change, but only if the right policy settings are in place. Chris Karamia-Inslee emphasised that Māori are very involved in many aspects of the primary product industry, partly as a result of treaty settlements. He suggested that the strategic long-term orientation of the Maori worldview helped to underline the imperative, in his mind, for stronger action on climate change. So much for the conference in which National failed to show. If we are to explore the differences between National and Greens on climate change, what might they be? National opposes alarmism over climate change and will proceed with great caution and deliberation in national policy. Failure to do so, they think, threatens the short-term financial interests of established economic sectors. The Greens, by contrast, see the scientific evidence and UN policy prescriptions as requiring greater and faster national action by New Zealand and contend that failure to do so constitutes a breach of international responsibility, in short, threatening the planet. These are the commonalities and differences in perception and policy between National and Green views, as I understand them to be. I would not have thought it would have been impossible to have had a reasoned dialogue on this matter between National and Green parties. Failure to do this, Mr. Speaker, encourages polarisation of party politics and a lack of predictable national policy as a result on issues that are simply too important to allow that to happen.
Tell us about your leaders' personal views.
I call the honourable member, John Hayes.
Thank you, Speaker. Can I first of all